from the elections, the general elections in Jamaica this morning, and we have a reporter on the line to give us some updates. Reporter Garfield Burford, a journalist there in Jamaica, to bring updates. Good morning and welcome. Good morning, Mr. Burford. Good morning and welcome to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. We are, hoping for the updates this morning. Are you there with us? Can you hear us?
Good morning to you, and good morning to your viewers, your listeners. Actually, talking with you from Antigua, Barbuda, but I'm a Jamaican journalist. Yes, indeed.
All right. So you are in the
Absolutely.
process of the counts for the Jamaican general
Yes,
election. So
I'm
we have preliminary.
hearing you. I think you're able to hear me as well. Very good morning to you. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we are hearing you. We are hearing you loud and
Are you
clear.
able to hear me? I'm hearing you.
Loud and clear. Loud and clear. We're hearing you.
Hello, good morning. I'm hearing you.
Yes, we're hearing you. We're hearing you, sir.
I'm hearing you. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. We are hearing you, Mr. Burford. We are
Are
hearing
you able to
you.
hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yes, and we are hearing you as well. Mr. Burford, we are hearing you. All right, I'm not sure what all right, you're hearing us. Good. So we're hoping for some updates from the general elections there in Jamaica. And I'm sure you can bring in the preliminary results for us. So let's get into that this morning. There seems to be some situation with the connection. I'm not sure what is happening with the audio between our network and Mr. Burford there. But we're hoping that we can have the conversation in the soonest possible time. In the meantime, though, ladies and gentlemen, we know that the government of Jamaica had their general elections, and preliminary results are coming in. We're talking about the voter turnout and the results that are coming in. But we really want to talk to Mr. Burford this morning to get that confirmation.
The initial reports seem to indicate that the JLP, the Jamaica Labour Party, they have won a third term.
Yes.
So it seems as though they're really cementing their position in the government, and the Jamaican public seems to have quite a solid sense of confidence in their leadership. I know over the past few years they've been working assiduously on reducing Jamaica's debt, something that Jamaica has been notorious for, and they've been really reducing Jamaica's debt and reviving the economy. And I think that the work that they have done in that regard has really resonated.
That's right.
With the Jamaican public, and so it reflects in the results itself. But
and when you look at the map, right? When you look at the map and you see how the votes have been, do they call it what do they call it, constituents?
Constituencies,
right? When you
yes.
look at it, you can see how equal in terms of the share. You can see almost in every single constituency, or in a parish. I think they call them parishes as well. You can see where the results came in favor of the JLP. So you can tell that the entire country, they kind of, sometimes when you look at election results, you might see in one area, maybe in the southern area or central area, you might see a condensation there, but you can see a spread across.
Yes,
you
across
can
Jamaica.
see central, you can see the eastern side of the island, you can see where where they got the traction in terms of the votes coming in. We're really hoping to have the conversation this morning, and of course what it means for the JLP to be returning in government there in Jamaica. And also to get a sense of this, I think we're seeing here the voter turnout was 39.5%. That's a preliminary count. I suppose they will get the final one at the end of all the assessments and the counts and stuff like that. But we're seeing 39.5% voter turnout.
Yeah, and it follows a trend, because I believe Guyana would have had their general and regional elections
That's right.
recently. And we also saw the incumbent return to office. So, and not again, Guyana has also been very
Yes.
notorious for the economic situation. And you see that also that administration as well, they've been doing a lot of work in terms of turning the economy around. So you can really see in those both instances what is important to the people, of those,
and the fact that the people are paying attention.
They're paying very much attention
in
to
terms
the
of the deliverables of the government of the day. So they actually are tracking what is happening in terms of making a decision based on what is best for the country now, in terms of seeing the results and being able to identify the results and thinking, okay, if we give them another term, perhaps we can advance even further. So these are the things you kind of have to look at when you're looking at election results, the outcomes of elections, in terms of, especially when you have repeat return to parliaments, you know, when you have the same administration going back year after year. Sometimes it could just be somebody devoted to a political party, or it could be that you're actually seeing results in terms of, okay, we were in this situation and now we could see that we are coming out of it. And so let us come together, nation first, country first, and see how we can really gain more traction in terms of getting out of this situation or getting into a situation, because you could be getting into a good situation in terms of relationships and stuff like that. So that is where Jamaica is this morning.
Yeah, and one of the things I would really like to see coming out of the election results is how those swing voters and swing seats went. And that could really give you an indication in terms of those more independent-minded persons making an impartial assessment of the situation and probably voting in favor of the incumbent. But this third term for the GIP really raises some questions for the opposition PNP and in terms of how they operate and how they resonate with the electorate in Jamaica and what steps they could take going forward to really bring themselves back into the good graces of the electorate, because I mean, this is going to mean that you're about 15 years outside of government, and that's that's a serious indictment.
Sometimes elections, I mean, I'm not a political scientist, so I don't know anything about, but based on common knowledge or common assessment or what we know, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are not in grace with the people. It just basically, it could mean that the current administration is doing well enough that there is not need for a change. We have seen, even in our country, where we had to make a drastic change because we were not satisfied, the population was not satisfied with the government of the day. So they went out and they made, either the political fanatics, they didn't vote for their party, or you saw more people coming out to vote for a new party because they were not satisfied with the performance. It could be in this instance that they are satisfied, and so there's no need really to make a change right
really
now.
A matter of dissatisfaction.
That's right. So it could be that, it could be a number of things, So we just have to wait until we get the official report. I see Mr. Burton is back there with us this morning. We're hoping that we can have the conversation with him. Mr. Burton, are you able to hear us Burford, are you able to hear us this morning?
Yes, I am. I'm able to hear you. Very good morning to you.
All right, thank you so much. So we're talking about the preliminary results for the general elections held in Jamaica for this year, 2025. So talk us through where we are this morning.
Very good morning again to you. So, yes, the Jamaica Labour Party under Dr. Andrew Holness winning a third consecutive term. This is, of course, winning in 2016, winning in 2020, and, of course, winning back again in 2025. Significant, historic for Dr. Andrew Holness. It's the first time that the Jamaica Labour Party is winning a third straight term for him. So a tour de force performance from him. Again, you'd have to contextualize that within with the fact that the voter turnout was just about 40%, 39.5% preliminary voter turnout to be exact, and that continues a trend of low voter turnouts. But as it is, winning with a significantly reduced majority. Remember, going into the selection, the Jamaica Labour Party had 49 seats to the 14 of the opposition People's National Party. That majority cut from 49 to 34, so barely essentially getting over the line. 32 was what was needed to get over the line, but 34 getting that. Dr. Andrew Holness saying it was a very difficult election to win. He says the fight was really on. It was not an easy, it was not a win by default, he said. And but extraordinary performance by him nonetheless. Going into a third term, traditionally, it's really difficult for the incumbent because you run the risk of people essentially getting fatigued, getting a little bit tired of you, and essentially those are some of the headwinds that Dr. Andrew Holness had. Plus, you had the fact that the opposition People's National Party was more energized, had actually managed to reconnect with a lot of its base as well. So those were some of the headwinds that he had to contend with. However, I think the incumbent, the Jamaica Labour Party, and Dr. Andrew Holness were able to campaign on what they consider to be their strong record of performance. Just for context for your audience, I think there's been a bipartisan effort to right-size the Jamaican economy and to fix some of the key fundamentals. So some of the key macroeconomic indicators are the best that they have been in decades. The debt to GDP ratio is close to 60%. That, based on the Maastricht Treaty, is essentially what is the international benchmark. 60% is the international benchmark. The country is at around 62%. Crime, especially violent crimes, murders have actually gone down quite significantly this year. The security forces have stepped up. Certainly over the last 18 months or so, especially in relation to using technology to disrupt criminal networks and therefore to reduce murders. Unemployment has been at a historic low as well. So some of those key macroeconomic indicators have actually been social and macroeconomic indicators have trended in the right direction. Both parties, I think, have taken credit for that. It started essentially, the heavy lifting was started on the People's National Party during the 2011 to 2016 term when Portia Simpson-Miller was the Prime Minister. Dr. Peter Phillips was her Finance Minister. And they re-engaged with the International Monetary Fund and was able to run very high primary surpluses. That had the effect of significant sacrifices on Jamaica, but also those certainly right-sized the economy. So that of course continued when Andrew Holness returned to office, and we say returned to office because he was first Prime Minister in 2011. So this is he had an initial stint at it, 2011, for a very short period of time. After Bruce Golding's resignation in the Phelps matter and with the Christopher Dudosco controversy. So Bruce Golding resigned. In comes Andrew Holness in 2011, calls an election, is wiped out, and loses badly to Portia Simpson and the People's National Party in 2011. But he learned his lesson, returned to winning ways in 2016, and has never looked back since. Now winning his third straight election, and of course being certainly the most successful Jamaica Labour Party leader post-independence. So it is pretty significant for him, tour de force, as I said, performance. But as I said, that was a big part of his platform to secure a third term, campaigning on the record, which he says showed very strong performances, and also indicating that there were no new taxes, that the country was able to navigate pretty significant challenges economically without imposing new taxes during their time in office. No new net taxes, according to him. So those were some of the key factors. But obviously, the closeness of the election was a barometer of how the dynamics have shifted over the last 5 years. 2020, the opposition People's National Party was disorganized, it was disunited, it didn't have essentially a base, it didn't connect with its base. And essentially the base didn't turn out in 2020, so they were wiped out 49-14. But I think in the past 5 years, under their leader Mark Golding, or their president Mark Golding, the People's National Party managed to re-energize its base, galvanize the support of reconnect with them, as that was evident in the results last night, notwithstanding the very low voter turnout.
So, Mr. Burford, you stated that the PNP was able to get back some footing in the elections by re-energizing their base. But we see that the JLP has won a third term, so the JLP had to be doing something well, even though the economic reforms started under the last PNP administration. In these elections, what were some of the issues that the JLP had to contend with that led to them losing so much ground, going from 49 seats to 34 seats?
Absolutely, and I touched on some of them before, but key question. The one was the fact that you're going into a third term. It's historically difficult to win a third term because you'd have to essentially justify why do you want another term again after having two terms. And so the JLP under Dr. Andrew Holness had to contend with that as well. The other issue was the fact that there was inflation. You see, while there were very significant gains on the macroeconomic front, there's no question that not everybody was feeling it. And that's a challenge in pretty much every country in the Caribbean. How do you translate macroeconomic stability, the indicators going in the right direction, with filtering that down to the man on the ground? How do you ensure that the man in the individual constituencies, 63 constituencies, is feeling that level of economic development and economic, well, not necessarily economic growth, but stability in the economy? So that has been the challenge. There is also the particular challenge of, as I said, the fact that, you see, what happened again was last year there was a local government election, so municipal elections, and during that time uh, the opposition People's National Party was able to make significant ground. So it was almost a dead heat in the results of those local government elections. I think that presented a wake-up call for Dr. Andrew Holness and the JLP. They realized that there were several matters that they needed to address, especially roads, water, infrastructure in the communities. So whereas they were doing big projects, and these big projects were quite expansive and very, very good, because there's been a lot of investment in Jamaica's infrastructure, roads, especially, and major water projects. But some of them were long-term projects, and some of them did not necessarily translate immediately to communities at the community level. That impacted their support in the local government elections. So I think between the local government elections last year and this general election yesterday, it told Dr. Andrew Holness that he had quite a lot of work to do. And I think, to his credit, he was able to put his shoulder to the wheel and to essentially galvanize the party's effort to ensuring that they're able to fix some of these community issues. I think the results, the closeness of the results, was an indication that they managed to do some, to claw back some support, but they still hemorrhaged some support as well, because that also had to be borne in mind that the People's National Party was also becoming stronger, was also becoming more energized and more united. I think that those are the factors that played into the closeness of the results.
Just to give us an idea, what was some of the campaign promises on both sides of the JLP and the PNP that they gave to the electorate for them to make that decision? What were some of the manifesto promises, and also what were some of the, I don't know if you mentioned them before, but some of the key issues of discourse? Because I think they also had, I saw somewhere online that they had a series of debates as well.
Right, so there are 3 political debates, and the debates have been going on since 2002. I myself was a questioner in 2007 and 2011 for those debates. I should tell you that I'm actually living in Antigua, Barbuda now, but I closely monitor the developments in my home country of Jamaica. But to be clear, some of the main issues that were raised, one, on the People's National Party side, their manifesto came out first, and they indicated that they would, they actually had 2, almost a secondary manifesto. So they launched their manifesto first, and then they had a second launch of the manifesto, a second unveiling of the manifesto, because they said that they were careful, that they didn't want to unveil all their plans at one go. And they believe that ran the risk of the JLP essentially copying some of their manifesto promises in their own manifesto. So they waited late in the game to unveil a secondary part of their manifesto. But either way, the People's National Party, the opposition, indicated that they would remove the tax or income tax on overtime and also on gratuity. They would also, and then part of what was unveiled in the secondary part of the manifesto launch was the biggest of their campaign promises, which was a raising of the income tax threshold to 3.5 million Jamaican dollars. It's now around about 1.7. So they would essentially be doubling, little more than doubling the income tax threshold, meaning those individuals earning less than $3.5 million and below would not pay income tax. That seemed to be attractive to quite a bit of members of the working class, especially public servants. They believe that was going to be a lure for individuals, for voters who might have been disenchanted with the process, members of the public service and other workers in the private sector. But that was their biggest campaign promise. On the Jamaica Labour Party's front, they indicated that they would be, and late in the game as well, in fact, probably about 3 or 4 days before the election, actually on Sunday, Dr. Andrew Holness indicating that the Jamaica Labour Party government would double the minimum wage, the national minimum wage, on a phased basis over the next few years. So he says once they won, or if they had won, they would have gone the route of, in their next budget, increasing it to $18,500 in the next budget. So that would seem to be a pretty significant pull as well for their voters, and also for individuals who might not have been inclined to vote. They might want to see, for example, an increase in the national minimum wage, which would bring it closer to parity across the region. So I think those were some of the key developments. There was also one where Dr. Andrew Holness indicated that he would go after pensioners. So in other words, or he would give some sort of benefit to pensioners, where any sort of earnings under $6 million in the Jamaican dollars and below, they would not pay income tax on those. So there were quite a bit of very interesting campaign promises on both sides. I think there was a lot of debate, a lot of chatter, certainly among the intellectual class and economists, as to whether or not the plan for the 3.5 million income tax threshold, or whether or not the national minimum wage, whether or not those were workable. In the last few days of the campaign, the national minimum wage, in doubling of the national minimum wage promised by Dr. Andrew Holness, elicited quite a bit of discussions, because members of the business community expressed concerns. They indicated that there should be consultation before any sort of increase is implemented with the national minimum wage. So there's quite a lot of chatter about these particular promises as well. Both parties pushed on health, education. I think perhaps the People's National Party hammered the government on their record on health and education, saying that the health sector was nowhere where it needed to be, and they would do a better job of managing healthcare. They had also promised that they would improve, revolutionize the way education the sector is managed and handled. So those were some of the major matters. But certainly, if I were to raise two things that really dominated the debate, dominated the narrative throughout the campaign: the People's National Party's promise of the income tax threshold, and also no tax on overtime, tips, and gratuity. The people and the Jamaica Labour Party under Dr. Andrew Holness saying there would be doubling of the national minimum. Those were the key issues at play.
Okay, Mr. Garfield Burford, we thank you very much for coming on here with us and just giving us some insight into the results and what the situation really is like politically in Jamaica. Thank you very much, and we hope that you have a good day.
You're most welcome. Great to be with you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we end the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, but it's not where we end our programming. We head on over to GMT, which is Good Morning Tobago. So we do hope that you can stay with us. And as you stay, we invite you to help us.
Share the live, share the live, share the live.